Hey, what's going on with it, ladies and gentlemen? Ponies and those calls. This is the one, the only Criticism Guy 2009, aka Nintendo Freak 2011. So, yeah, before I begin, real quick, I might have to do part 2 of this video just in case, either A, my voice starts getting really worn out, or B, I get some type of call or whatever. So, yeah, without further ado, let's begin. So, coming in at number 10, one of the best, greatest, most memorable video game sidekicks of all time. Hopefully read the title above and below before I start this. Very, very highly cautiously warn you that there's going to be a little bit of profanity involved. So, but in a good way though. So if any parent out there is watching or whatever, just letting you know ahead of time. You might not want to have your kid see me, cursing up a storm, but in a good way. But to each his fucking own, okay? So here we go. Number 10, Luigi. And the reason I know why a lot of people are thinking is like, oh, why would you put Luigi at number 10? Even though he was always the shadow of Mario, and I know a lot of people have stated this over time on YouTube and everything. Oh, and I got a new hat, by the way. Not the relevant there. Yeah, basically what it is about Luigi, even though he's one of my old school favorite characters back in the days, I used to not really idolize him. I always thought his talents and abilities were a lot more old school. Like, if any of you guys remember that Mario Party All-Stars game that was back in the Super NES days, SNES days, well, you damn well know, you should know that Luigi was, he had these different type of powers, especially in Super Mario World 2, where it was a little bit different, it had that old school feeling. I thought it was weird, but it was cool. Because in a way, what's it called? He could do that double jump a little bit more higher than Mario can. He could reach certain platforms that Mario couldn't because he was a little bit shorter, even though he was basically the most, biggest notorious guy out there. And on my Nintendo for 2011 channel, I'm probably going to do that theory on how Mario, I think he was supposed to be representing Russia and a lot of racism and shit like that, but it's only a fucking theory. But you know what? I'm going to do that on that channel maybe next week or maybe a month from now to get my maybe material together and see what I can come up with. So yeah, Luigi. What can I say about it? He was in Luigi's Mansion and the revamp for the Wii U for Luigi's Mansion. Forgot what it was called. It was a sequel to it. Had this powerful vacuum cleaner. He'd suck up these ghost demon things all over the place and just pwn the living shit out of them. Awesome as fuck. Even though I liked his little Italian accent. Let's go. That was always the thing that made me so fucking not really idolize him, but I'm not really sure what the word is, but basically, watched in awe, as how awesome as hell this character is, and how much credit he usually doesn't get, unlike his brother Mario, Same with Wario and Waluigi, but that's for a different time. So yeah, that's number 10 for you, Luigi. Coming in at number 9, and once again, a lot of people are going to think, oh, why put them at Navi at number 9 on the list? It is Navi. And the reason, given the fact I didn't really play too many Legend of Zelda games, unless way back in the days when one of my cousins actually had an N64 and SNES back in those times, I wasn't really too crazy about the Zelda franchise. I did love all the musical, orchestrated, creativity they were going on with it. But as far as a game in a whole itself, I really wasn't too crazy about this shit. Even though I got a couple wallets and stuff like that, and what's it called, real old school games for even the GameCube. I don't know if that's considered old school yet, but maybe middle school, I don't know. But yeah, basically the reason why I put Navi on there, because he was kind of annoying as fuck, I'm not gonna lie. Even though he was a little bit of an annoying little piece of shit when he said, oh look, listen, hey, that would kind of annoy the living fuck out of me. Every single fucking time he would do that, I'll just mute the fucking caption. I would even tell my cousin if it was okay. So, oh yeah, sure, go for it. Thank fucking God, because that was getting to my head. I'm not such a good term, alright? So, that's the reason why it's so low on number 9. I should have named this one number 10, but you know what? Since the music made up for it, that's the reason why it's staying in that spot. So yeah, that's really all I gotta say about Navi. I think in the Legend of Zelda The Four Swordsmen, they switched Navi's thing up for a little bit. And one of the Zelda games, I'm sure that Navi wasn't even there at all. Thank God. But I never got to play that one. I think it was for the first DS that came out. But yeah, that's number 9 in the whole, Navi. So coming in at number 8, hope you guys like this as much as I do. There's another picture of Navi. And some of these pictures I got doubles or triples of that person that made them is Tails. Tails Miles Croner. And the reason why he's at number 8, in the anime series or animation series, whatever you want to call it, what have you, the reason why Tails is at number 8 is that he wasn't like a really super annoying piece of shit like how Navi was. He was still awesome in his own little particular way. He was able to ride that airplane, the tornado. I thought that was cool as hell. Definitely awesome as shit. Definitely worth having as a sidekick. I mean, he was there since almost day 1. Day 2, back in the real old school Sega days, back in my 90s kids days, was real huge big deal at that time, And before Sega ended up falling flat in their face, and they had to have Nintendo as a, crutch, unfortunately, which they still are today, because, if it wasn't for Nintendo, Sega would be batshit broke, unless they were in Japan. Because if any of you guys have seen my Wolverine review, I talked a little bit about Sega here now. They kept showing their things in the background. It's kind of weird, but it's in there for the moment. I don't know. The reason why I put him in number 8 is because he was okay, but like some of the voice actors that played Tails were like, "Hey Sonic, we're gonna do this and that," "Oh, you gotta watch out for Dr. Robotnik, you gotta watch out for Dr. Eggman," that type of thing. And that after a while can get kind of repetitive. How not as bad as Navi was, because only through he would say, "Hey, look, listen," But for this one, only 2 cool ass things that he had besides the tornado was what's it called? He could do the Tails doll thing. I really wish it would have been a metal Tails like they did with Metal Sonic and Metal Knuckles, but they didn't, unfortunately. It kind of sucked balls a little bit. And number 2, what else was really cool about him? And I remember Sonic Adventure, I think too, he had that Tails like Dr. Eggman look-alike machine that he would run around in, but it was his own style. He put his own pizzazz to it, if you will. And what else? He was able to fly in the Game Boy Advance games a lot, all the way up and down. He would do it for like a lot longer than Cream would. That's the only thing I didn't like about Cream. She would only fly 6 seconds. He would go like 20, 25 seconds. That's what made him real cool. So that's number 8 in a nutshell for you. Tails. Number 7. Not sure if people agree with me on this or not, but fucking Jak and Daxter. Let me tell you about this. Not Jak and Daxter, but just Daxter in general. The reason he's on the sidekick list at number 7, he was decently average. I know it's for the PS1 and no, not PS1, just PS2 franchise, unfortunately. And sadly, I know I did a video on this on my Nintendo Free channel that they might end up coming back with the Jak and Daxter game. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case because the producers and the CEO guys that worked for like Naughty Dog and the studios and everything, Universal Studios, is that they ended up canceling it at the last second, and that pissed me the hell off. I remember Jak and the Lost Frontier. I still have that game, by the way, for my PSP. I know he turned into this big giant monster. I know he was usually there for the comedic side of everything, but I thought he was awesome as shit. Second and third, when he started growing the fuck up, growing a pair of cojones and shit, and doing his own thing, That's why I thought it was awesome as hell about Daxter. He was able to use like 1 or 2 guns in the Lost Frontier. I thought that was awesome as hell, if I do say so myself. It was very incredible, very amazing. I like the little goggles they gave him. And then they gave him the pants later on, because he was always begging and whining about pants, and it was funny as shit. And sometimes he would actually be a little bit more helpful to Jak than a lot of other sidekick characters. In my opinion, that's how it was, Even though he was there for usually the gag factor, the comedy relief factor, I thought he was still awesome as shit, So that's Daxter for you. And he was really smart at airplanes for some reason, like Tails. So coming number 6... I can get it. This is for my real old school fans, 90s games. Any of you guys remember that? That was another picture I had of him. I said, like, if you remember this character, you had a fucking awesome childhood. And damn fucking right I did. At the time, even though I had bullies and shit to deal with. But at the end of the day, I got home. It was good times, Because I was kind of a loner back in those days. But now I'm not, thank God. Fucking Aku Aku. And let me tell you something about this guy. Even though you always go that that kind of thing, like that, like every time you would get him, it did get a little annoying, but not really bad as the other 3 I just said. The reason why he was funny as hell is because he had like 2 different colors. He had this color and he had the bright orange color, and then after that, that catchy little tune. Oh my god, it was like that shit was my crack back in the days, ladies and gentlemen. That I cannot tell you how many times I danced to that shit back in my days, man. Seriously. It was a real good time. Different times, but hey, life moves on. And unfortunately, I'm not sure if they ever will bring him back. Because all these FPS and MMORPGs and shit out there. There are a few FPSs that are okay, they're good. Most of them, they just get repetitive as fuck after a while. It's like, it's the same fucking thing. They're just putting like different characters and a different persona and a different aspect, different gaming characters. This was back in a time when they didn't have voice actors in the first Crash Bandicoot. The only one that would talk there was like Dr. Neo Cortex and I think Nitrous Brio for a little bit. And then that was it. And that did kind of suck, but all in all as a whole, I know I already did a video on that. I might leave a link down in the description box below if you want to check that out. Aku Aku was boss as fuck. I think it was played by some Jamaican black dude or whatever, but kudos to the guy that did Aku Aku's voice because it was amazing, you know? Even in Crash Nitro Kart, that other voice acting was good. The one after that, like in Twin Sanity and Crash of the Titans, he was kind of shit after that. I'm sorry, he wasn't that great. Because they made him into a big giant, like, gorilla yeti monkey thingy or whatever. And that kind of sucked a little bit. That wasn't cool in my opinion. All in all, he was still awesome back in his first 3 Crash Bandicoot games. Even Crash Bash was awesome. And yeah, Uka Uka was his brother, obviously. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. And every time he gave you the invincibility, he would turn into this small little tornado thing. So I thought the effects for that were fucking phenomenal. So coming in number 5, we're almost at the home stretch right here. Hopefully, you guys loving this. I know I am. Number 5, Sparks, and hopefully I got this wrong. I mean, right. So number 10 was Luigi. 9 was Navi. 8 was I was gonna say Link. 8 was Tails, Tails Prone. 7 was Jak and Daxter, which was Daxter, obviously. And number 5 was Aku Aku. Now number 4. And I get a little bit into detail on this one. Sparks the Dragon, or Sprax. That's what I used to call him, Sprax. Back in those days, like, you know, Spyro the Dragon was huge as fuck. And there was still a lot of people doing Let's Plays and all that shit out there like that. I don't have that type of, you know, equipment and shit, but if I did, I'd probably be doing them on my other channel. But, yeah, you know, plus my mic is crap, let's face that. Sparks the Dragon, what can I say about him, you know? Even though he took 3 hits, he was still a gutsy little, firefly. Made little kids probably scared of, oh, mom, he's gonna kill the butterflies. No, he's not. It's just in the game. So just chill, relax, and stay calm, right? I remember in the Game Boy Advance game when they had that little twist version of Spyro being in Crash's world and Crash Bandicoot being in Spyro's world. It was decent. It wasn't one of the best games, but it was decently, fairly good. So, yeah, you know, they even gave him his mini games in the 2nd and 3rd one. I think it was Spyro 3, Year of the Dragon, I'm not sure. Or Enter the Dragon. I think Enter the Dragon was PS2. There was a lot of glitches and flaws on that one, unfortunately. But it was still good nonetheless. And, you know, what else can I say about Sprax? I think in the 3rd one and then Enter the Dragon, they finally gave him a voice actor for that. Because in the 1st and 2nd one, he was super fucking quiet. And I think in the 3rd, I'm not sure. I think they didn't have no voice actor for him. But the other ones, they had the voice actor for him later on. Or they were just subtitles down below on the screen, you know? And one last thing I liked about Sparks is that like crazy little comet sparkle that he would make every time he was around you. He would always get the gems and dragons for you, because it was a lot more fucking goddamn harder to get that shit on your own. Trust me. When I used to do that shit a lot back in the days, it was hard as fuck for me to get the gems and stuff, you know? Goddamn fucking frustrating. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So yeah, number 5 is Sparks. He was a gutsy little fire dragon, and hopefully maybe one day when they get his like reintroduction and everything right, when they make comebacks for Spyro, hopefully it's not a piece of crap like that one with Cinder in it, because that was fucking sad. So yeah, number 4, Diddy Kong. What I loved about Diddy Kong at this time, it was really, really fucking phenomenal. It was balls off the fucking wall. Everything aside, everything positive. He was basically one of Nintendo's golden boys in the 90s, you know? There was a lot more in N64. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play since I only had PS1. I only got to play all the NES games at that time. The DK1, 2, and 3, obviously I owned those shits. It's crazy as shit to believe they're still in good condition too, believe it or not. But yeah, you know, Diddy Kong. What can I say about him? Back in the days, he was one of Donkey Kong's sidekicks, and then Donkey Kong 2. I forgot what the name was, but I think it was like something, I don't even know. But you know, basically what it comes down to is Diddy Kong. You know, Super Smash Bros. Brawl way later on, they made him a lot more advanced, a lot more quicker and faster. You know, especially even in the games. Unfortunately, they didn't really put him that much in Mario Kart racing. I had no idea why. They always put Donkey Kong, but never Diddy Kong. And that kind of pissed me off a little bit. You know, What type of bullshit nonsense is that? You know, give the fans what they want. Give him his own game. Even though they got Donkey Kong Returns 2 on the Wii U up to now, he still holds up to that level of, like, you know, inspiration, if you will. You know, he had his own little jetpack in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Hopefully he comes back in the next Super Smash Bros. Brawl that comes out next year. I already did like 4 different videos on my Nintendo Free channel, so you can check those out if you want to as well. And yeah, that's all I got to say about Diddy Kong. So coming in at number 3, the final 3, and this is going to be a little bit out of the ordinary, but you know what? They were bad fucking ass. It's fucking Maria from Grand Theft Auto 3. And even Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. The reason why she was a funny sidekick, even though she wasn't really a sidekick, she was just one of like the side characters. Because there was like 1,000 different side characters in it. But you know what? This is my channel. I can do whatever the fuck I want, say whatever I want, and you know, basically break down stuff whenever I want. You know, explain however I feel like. You know, my own terminology. So yeah, basically Maria. What can I say about fucking Maria? I mean, you know, she was a hot little skanky piece of ass and shit like that. She was a little cheating bitch, but nevertheless, she was always faithful to Claude Speed, aka she always called him Fido. Even though she was a little bit of a drug addict and shit, you know, you always had to save her and shit like that. But I thought she was there for usually the comedy relief, like how Daxter was. She would make all these little jokes and puns like that, you know. That's that type of nature, you know. I remember in one particular mission when you had to save her from like the FIB instead of the FBI. They would call it the FIB. I thought it was awesome as fuck. I had to save her because it was easy as shit. The only thing that would chase you was the SWAT team, because like the military things and like what's it called, the FBI, and like the military won't chase you down until way later after you get to the that one in the other bridge. I forgot, Shoreside Vales, and then the other one. Completely forgot what it was. But that's Maria for you, number 3. And then the final 2. Hopefully you guys agree with me, but if not, hey, you know what? You're entitled to your own opinion, and you're all good. It was kind of a tiebreaker, so here we got the Golden Son, Ivan and Mia. Let me tell you about these two, Ivan and Mia, back in my Game Boy Advance days, when I still had this shit. Before I ended up selling off to GameStop, which was a dumb decision, but you know, I was desperate for games at that time. So yeah, basically those two, one had the power of electricity, the other had the power of water. It was all good with them, you know. It was very fucking it was mind blowing for me to see, you know. You can control these two little people. It was kind of like Final Fantasy and shit like that, but it wasn't as boring and it wasn't as like, it didn't drag out as long. I'm just gonna put it like that, leave it at that. The thing I loved about Mia, she kind of reminded me of a blue-haired version of Zelda for some reason, except she didn't have any powers. Well, Zelda, I know she had her own little elf powers, like I think it was called Cinder Flame or something like that. And then for Mia, it was a little bit different for her because, not Mia, for Ivan, he had the power of electricity, like I said. For some reason, he kind of looked like this other character, a little bit from Kingdom Hearts. The only difference was he wasn't a Disney character. He was from like one of the Nintendo characters. I forgot what the company name was for it. So I might put a link down in the description box below for all 10 of these characters. We'll see. And the last thing I really liked about it, he was just a boss. Awesome, spectacular as fuck. That's what I really, really loved about it the most. And they always had these like quirky little characters that would like do all these superpowers. They were the sidekicks, even though the first one, the last other sidekick was Garrett. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's number 2 for you. Number 1, hopefully you guys like it the most. And I thought it was boss as fuck. It was another tie. It was Natalie and this one, Cassie. Let me tell you about these two. Natalie and fucking Cassie were boss ass shit. And that's the reason why they're number 1. Even though they didn't really do anything, they just assisted that other kid, the one that was catching all the monkeys from Ape Escape, which I forgot to mention. I thought they were amazing as hell, not just because they're females and they look hot and everything. At the time, of course. You know, this is when PS1 was just barely starting to get off the ground, and I remember at that time a lot of kids were like real crazy about it. Maybe some people say, oh, it's not as good as N64. I completely agree, but at the same time, I kind of disagree. It was like I was on the fence about it because I didn't own an N64, my cousins did. The reason why I thought it was awesome as hell is because they had the little virtual girl, and they had all this epic Japanese J-pop music, like literally just bumping the hell out of everywhere. If you would have had surround sound back in those days, you had one of the most greatest fucking childhoods ever in history. And yeah, let's talk about the clothing. It was awesome as shit. It was kind of like the super early stages of like Hatsune Miku, you know, that whole Vocaloid thing that's really big nowadays. That was kind of like the really early aspect ages of how this game was. You know, you just catch monkeys and stuff, and they will tell you how many to catch and what style to do it in. I never got to play the second and third Ape Escape, and I know there was an anime show on it, but unfortunately it didn't make its way to the United States, sadly. But yeah, that's all I had to say about this top 10 video. Greatest memorable sidekicks ever. And like I always say, like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. And is what it is, ain't what it ain't. See you when I see you guys. Have a good day, have a good night, wherever you're at around the world. Don't drink and smoke weed at the same time. Don't do anything reckless. Peace out. See you soon on the next one. Be safe, everybody, and I'll talk to you guys later, alright? Be easy and see you soon. Peace. Oh yeah, and yeah, like I always said before, I might have some future projects, so be on the lookout for those. I might have a brand new hat next month. See you.